Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our virtual information session today, brought to you from Atlantic Technological University. We're delighted today to be talking about our Sport and Nutritional Sciences suite of programs that we have available for September intake. We'll have a full panel to go through all the different program offerings, and we'll also be talking to some students and graduates as well as we go through. So hopefully you can join us for the 45 minutes. Just to let everybody know, we are actually recording this session. And if you do have to drop off at any stage, don't worry, we will share the recording to anybody who has registered as a watchback link. So again, hopefully you've got time to share with us this lunchtime. Just to let you know, there's also a Q&A going on in the background. So you'll see a button at the top of the screen there called Q&A. If you have any questions throughout while the speakers are talking, or if there's anything in general you want to ask us, please do pop it into that chat there. I know one of the team will drop a message now to welcome you, and then they will pick it up and we will try to get the questions back to you while we're on live. But don't worry, if we haven't got back to you, we will definitely get back to you if you drop that message into the Q&A box as well. So I will just go through the first slide now that the welcomes are over. So yeah. So our agenda today, so we'll go through, just to give you an overview of ATU, we'll focus on our part-time programs that are available in the discipline of sport and nutritional science. So we have speakers today from our Donegal campus. We've Dr. Ronan Doherty. Then we have a speaker from our Sligo campus, Gemma McMonagle, and from our Galway campus we have Damien Costello, Dr. Paula Conroy, and we will also have Denise Martin as well speaking about one of our programs there. And then we're also joined by two of our students. We have Gary Wilson, who's going to speak with Ronan Doherty, and we have Eric, who is going to speak with Dr. Paula Conroy as well. Then we'll give some general information at the end around how to apply and the funding that may be available for students as well. So I'll just start by giving a quick overview of Atlantic Technological University, because I know some people are joining us not necessarily from Ireland. There may be some international students who are maybe not familiar with who Atlantic Technological University are. So we're a multi-campus university. We're based in the west and northwest of Ireland. We cover one region, but we have 9 campus locations, and they span from right up in the northwest, the Donegal Letterkenny campus, down to our Galway City campus in the west, and there's also campuses out in Connemara and Mount Bellew all around the Galway region. We also have a campus in Mayo and 2 campuses in Sligo. And some of the programs that we mentioned today, they will be full-time online delivery, so it doesn't matter where in the world you're based, you could study with us, and others may be blended where you may need to come in on campus maybe one day a week, or for certain residentials or lab work. So again, just to give a sense of it, we have over 26,000 students enrolled in ATU across those campus locations, all studying in various different formats, be that full-time undergraduate, part-time postgraduate, part-time undergraduate. Every year, annually, we have our graduation ceremonies, and in the last year we had over nearly 8,500 graduates from our university. So we have a very vibrant student population, and that population is supported by over 2,000 staff. That's between lecturers and academic and administration staff who will support you throughout your learning journey. So we'll meet a number of them today, and they will give you a sense of kind of what it's like to study with ATU. So we will move on then just to talk a little bit about flexible learning. So our focus on these information sessions is around our flexible learning offerings. So that's students who are maybe returning to education, who have studied to a certain level and then want to come back, either top up their existing qualification or maybe start from fresh again, having maybe never attended third level college in the past. So again, a lot of the courses that we look at, they allow people to specialise in their discipline areas. Sometimes people have been out in the workplace for a number of years and they have maybe a broad general degree, and then they want to specialise in order to progress in their career. Again, we find that's a huge motivator for people. You know, they've gone in and they want to specialise in a discipline area. We do know that it's quite a competitive marketplace at the moment. There's full employment in Ireland, and there's a lot of job opportunities out there. So again, it does give people, when they come back, either to study their masters or whether it's to study to a level 8 degree. Sometimes the employer market then you'll benefit that. And again, a lot of the students we talk to has had a real positive impact on their career. And there's also the whole idea of lifelong learning, and we're big advocates of that here at ATU, where we encourage continuous professional development. And that's not just professional, it's also personal development, where people develop life skills that they lean into throughout the rest of their working life. So again, a lot of people come back, and sometimes they come back again and again, to top up in various different specialisms, especially with the changing world of work and everything that's going on. Sometimes it is encouraged again by employers to come back and study. So every course we talk about today is available. To find out more information on atu.ie/flexible. That is our flexible learning hub, where we have all the courses that are open for September intake, but it also gives you information about how to apply, any funding that's available, and some student stories as well are listed there. So for today's session, we're focused on the Faculty of Science and Health, and across ATU, we've 168 courses in that Faculty of Science and Health, and that's in the part-time and flexible space. 100 of those are delivered fully online, so where students maybe do not have to attend campus, they can log on and attend their lectures, a lot of the times live online and sometimes pre-recorded. 62 of those are blended, so that's where I mentioned you may be able to study some of your lectures, take them online, but then come into campus for practicals or tutorials or some lab work and things like that. And then some are part-time on campus, so all your learning may be face-to-face, but it may be in a part-time delivery mode. So you're not, you may need to come in on Friday afternoons or Thursday afternoons or something like that. But again, a lot of that detail is on the programme web pages themselves. In terms of the qualifications then, we mentioned we have our postgraduate, they would be level 9, level 8 to level 7, 6, they are all undergraduate, but again, undergraduate part-time flexible courses. And our focus today is on exercise science and nutrition. So they are the programs that we will be speaking about, so health and nutritional sciences, or sport and nutritional sciences. So our first speaker that we have on the panel today is Dr. Ronan Doherty, and Ronan is based up in our Donegal Letterkenny campus. He works within the Department of Marketing, Tourism and Sport up there. And hi Ronan, how are you today?
Good, Cleo, thanks.
Good. Look, thank you for joining us. I know you're going to spotlight a couple of programs and speak to a graduate there, so I will kick on the slides and leave it over to you.
Thanks very much. Afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be able to be here to speak about the flexible options that we offer in ATU Donegal. So we have a number of different offerings that are designed with a focus on developing aptitude in sports and exercise science and nutrition. So there's loads of different offerings that we'll focus on too. And Gary is a graduate of the Masters in Sports Performance Practice, so he'll be able to shed more light on that as well. But the first program to talk about is the Masters in Sports Performance Practice. It's designed with a focus on obviously undergraduates who are coming through sports and exercise science, undergrads or students who want to return after a break after completing an undergrad. But there's a big focus on people who either want to pivot and change careers, so move to more into coaching or working in performance sport. And I suppose it's important to note that when I say performance sport, there's a continuum from, people who want to be active across the lifespan or remain healthy for as long as possible, right through to the elite end. And we're lucky that our staff have experience and teach and work and continue to work across networks that really highlight that breadth or that continuum from real kind of recreational health across the lifespan right through to elite sport. And the focus of the Masters is in 3 key areas. So nutrition, strength and conditioning, physiology and performance analysis. And students get a exposure to that breadth and depth of knowledge in those areas. And we try and prepare our graduates for careers in performance sport or a career change. So we've had PE teachers who've done the Masters to try and upskill for the new PE curriculum, right through to coaches who want to upskill or people who want to have careers in performance sport. And we've also got a number of postgraduate certificates. So one example you can see there, the Sports Performance Innovation Postgraduate Certificate. And again, that builds on our staff and the diverse range of experience that our staff have. And that's led by another lecturer, so Ken Van Sumeren. He leads out on the Sports Performance Innovation Postgraduate Cert. Then at undergrad, we have a flexible blended offering in applied strength and conditioning. So the bulk of that course is delivered online, but there are on-campus days here at ATU Donegal. And we also offer a number of micro-credentials and minor awards, so things in functional fitness and coaching, personal fitness and fitness training, sports coaching, principles of sports nutrition, and again, a number of different fitness and coaching awards. So we have a real breadth of offerings. But one program that we've just released and will start in September is our Level 7 Certificate in Sports Coaching. So it's a 1-year blended program, mostly online, but there will be on-campus blocks in each semester. So there are 3 modules worth 30 credits. So sports performance practice or sports coaching practice, coaching behavior, which focuses more on the science of coaching, and reflective practice for sports coaches, which focuses on reflective practice, which is a key element of any type of sports science qualification now. So reflective practice and learning by doing is a real big part of the courses that we offer. I suppose I should just note that Nicola's email is there. If anyone wants more information, they can email nicola.dunyan@atu.ie. And also, if anyone wants more information on our courses, they can email me as well. It's ronan.doherty@atu.ie.
Now, do you want to speak to your graduate, Gary?
Yep,
Are you there?
I'll speak to Gary. Hi, Gary. Good to see you.
Hi, Ronan. How are you?
I'm good. So Gary graduated from our Masters 2 years ago, and he's just started a new role as Games Development Coordinator with Monaghan GA. So got a couple of questions to ask Gary, but maybe first, if you want to outline your new role to everyone and what you're going to be doing.
So my role is based primarily in Clohan in County Monaghan, but it obviously encompasses taking in every aspect of Monaghan as a county, from primary school through to secondary school through to club work. Basically what we're doing is essentially providing a clear player pathway for boys and girls to succeed within Gaelic games, whether it be camogie, LGFA, boys football, boys hurling. And with that comes a lot, I suppose, working from the bottom up and then the top down. We're looking at the senior setup and essentially what gaps are going to appear there in time. So what do we need to provide them in the years maybe from 15 to 20? What players do we need to get ready? Then we need to make sure, I suppose, what at the junior levels, what clubs are going to what schools are then feeding into our development squads, and obviously what clubs are feeding into their development squads. So it's nearly like a sort of a full circular, always continuum coming around back on yourself kind of a body of work. We do on-hands coaching. I primarily work with the under 14 development squad. So that's kind of the introductory stage of, I suppose, if you wanted to call it maybe the more elite player pathway element the Gaelic have developed. So today we have more clubs from the north coming into us today. So they'll come on for 2 hours and they'll get a feel of the space. They'll go out, they'll do some trial games, some trial challenges and things like that. And then there'll be obviously players selected and deselected, and we navigate through that in terms of delivering that, I suppose, positive or negative news back to those players and their clubs as well. So it's busy. It's busy.
I'm sure it is busy.
It's busy.
So the first thing I'd ask you, Gary, is what motivated you to do the Masters or to look at postgraduate study as an option?
Well, I suppose for me, I done my Leaving Cert in 2007, and I suppose my parents being your vision or setting you up for the future, they'd probably foreseen that maybe the crash was not far away. So they guided me on a route down sort of architecture, construction, and they felt that basically if I went into college and I studied for whatever 3, 4, 5 years, that the recession would have passed and the world would need rebuilt, I suppose, and all these houses would need rebuilt. But it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It was more, I suppose, you were being pushed in this direction, and you followed what your parents were saying. So my passion has always been sport. And with time, and as I got older, and I suppose maybe a bit more confident in myself, I started to really realize that that's not what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to be was in sport. Um, and then what I did do was I did a lot of night courses and weekend courses, external obviously to the ATU, but through conversations with different people like Carol Lacey, who's a lecturer in this course, I always kind of have felt, and I had been, I suppose, I kind of very aware that I was always going to have a ceiling. So Carol had sort of advised me that the level 9 postgraduate would be a very, very good opportunity to complete a master's in sports performance practice that would essentially smash through this sort of invisible ceiling that maybe I had perceived for myself.
Yeah.
So that's really the reason that I chose to do that. I didn't have an undergraduate background, so I had to come through, I had to demonstrate, I suppose, that prior recognition of prior learning,
Yeah.
which was massively helped by the likes of Nicola and Ken, and those people were able to help me build all that out. I was successfully accepted onto the course, and thankfully late last year successfully graduated the course.
Brilliant. And then what was your experience of the course? Or was it your first experience of online learning, for example?
Yeah, it would have been my first experience, I suppose, of online learning, sitting actually physically listening on courses, and I would have done online learning, but it would have been more sort of a click to move along with the slide type style.
Yeah.
But I found it really beneficial for me. What I was able to do, I worked in a gym at the time, and what I was able to do was clear out my Thursdays and Fridays to free that up for myself, so I could physically sit down and just take it in. That I felt that I learned better that way. Um, I also have two young children at home, and we're newly married as well. So there was that whole aspect of it. So there was that juggling, and the online learning afforded me an opportunity that I could get my learning done during the day when I
Yeah.
needed to do that, when the kids was at school and my wife was at working, and then it still allowed me to have family time in the evenings, or maybe if I was working with a team, still go out and be able to coach in the evenings. So it was really hugely beneficial to me.
Brilliant. And then I think we've kind of touched on this already, but how do you think your studies have impacted your career?
They've massively impacted my career, more so I suppose in a sense that you qualify for jobs that are maybe
Yeah.
that bit higher up. That obviously it helps that way. But for me, even I would now feel that I'm even just subconsciously more confident in rooms. Now
Yeah.
I feel that I suppose I belong in the room, if is a very simple way to put it. Whereas in the past, you mainly maybe were built on certificates and sort of weekend courses that some people would perceive maybe as not sufficient learning and knowledge, and that's fair. Where now I feel that I'm confident to walk into, I suppose, most rooms, and my input will be valued, and I'm more confident to even provide my input. So it has really helped me in that sense.
Brilliant. And then last question, do you have any advice for anyone thinking of completing the Masters in Sports Performance Practice?
Um, my advice would be to really engage with it. A year does sound long, but if you really break it down, it's not really a year. You start in September and you get to December, and then there's kind of that month off period, and then you're back kind of mid January, and no sooner do you recognize that it's coming.
Oh, did we lose Gary there?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, well.
I think his camera's just frozen there. We'll give him a second. I think yeah, we got he might need to dial out and dial back in again if he comes in. I think we were at the last question there, Ronan, anyway, were we,
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah,
your summing up? And look, we got a really good feel for his experience and what he's been through and how it's progressed his career. So I think he's been a great student or graduate to meet today. And hopefully he may just get a chance to dial back in. if that's okay with you, Ronan, I might just
Yeah, that's
move on if
perfect.
that's
Thanks,
all
Cleo.
right.
We'll
Look,
hand back.
thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us today. So up next, we have Gemma McMonagle, who is from the Health and Nutritional Sciences Department in our Sligo campus. And head of department there is Dr. Owen Kenny. And he is not with us today, but Gemma is going to talk a little bit about our programme offering there. Gemma, are you okay to chat to us now?
Yeah, I am, of course. Thanks for letting me join today, and I'm delighted to be here to share some of the programs that we have on offer from our Sligo campus. So this just gives us an insight into a few of the courses, and I'm going to share some information on these. So I suppose if we start with the postgraduate offerings, these are our level 9 programs. I'm going to spotlight the public health nutrition, so I'll speak about that in more detail in a moment. But first of all, the sports and exercise nutrition program, I'll give a little insight into that program. It's a very popular program and it's really well enjoyed by our students. This program is an MSc, a master's program. There is also the route or the option of doing the postgraduate diploma as well. So there's a couple of different options under this remit or this area. I should say that for this program, we're currently in the process of submitting for accreditation. So not just yet, but we are aligning this program to the accreditation for the SENR, the Sports and Exercise Nutrition Register. But the program itself, the Masters I'll speak about, it's a part-time program and it runs over 2 years. It's fully online, so it's very flexible. We do offer an optional practical day for students as well, which they really enjoy. It is, as I say, an optional extra for anybody maybe who lives or who can access the Sligo campus. So students do really enjoy that opportunity as well to engage face to face. But everything is really flexible. The lectures are recorded. And the program itself, I suppose, is composed of a range of modules in year 1, looking at insights into human nutrition, exercise physiology, fitness assessment, and professional skills. Year 2 then is mostly made up of research components, so looking at research methods, statistical analysis, and one of the kind of more personal aspects for students is that they can pursue their research project or their thesis. So they can actually focus on a topic of their choice. So they can really focus in on an area here that they're interested in, and they're guided by a supervisor who would be an expert in that area. So that is the sports and exercise nutrition. As I say, I'll speak a bit more about public health nutrition in a moment. The other offering that we have at MSc level that I'm going to discuss today is the food and nutritional product development. Now for this year, this program will run on campus over a 1-year period, but the program itself has a lot of really exciting and interesting components, and it does have that blend of food product development with nutrition and the components of food science. So some of the modules studied include nutrition through the life cycle or the life stages. We look at food safety and legislation, food chemistry, food product development, and there is that research project component there as well, where students get to conduct a project in an area of their own interest. Next, I'm going to talk about the public health. So this is a level 9 cert. It's 30 credits over 1 year, and again, it's fully online. This course was developed in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and all that taught us about the importance of public health. So this program entails modules such as epidemiology, health protection, quality improvement, and principles of public health practice. So again, it has all that flexibility and it is over the 1-year period. Aside from that, then we have level 6 awards or certificates. So these would be undergraduate. And I suppose these programs are really in response to climate change and to the sustainability focus that we have in today's society. So they are level 6, they're over 1 semester, and graduates would attain then a 10 credit certification from these awards. They're both fully online. The repurposing of surplus food. This looks at practical aspects of food waste minimisation and food redistribution. The other course or programme that we're focusing on today is the Sustainable Surplus Food Management. Again, it's over one semester. It's a 10 credit certification, and it looks at the I suppose the options that we can facilitate from surplus food, and again that focus on sustainability as well. So it's looking at practical aspects of food waste minimisation and food redistribution. So that's kind of a brief summary of the programs. I'm just going to mention that we have or that we're in the process of developing a program in dietetics. So it's still in the development stages, but do look out for the recruitment or the intake of this, which will be hopefully coming up soon.
And thanks, Gemma. And I know if anybody's interested in more details on those, each of those certs and programs would have, you know, specific information around entry requirements and who the course is suitable for on the website. So again, if it's piqued anybody's interest, that's where that information is. So if we want to go on to the program spotlight there, the one you were just mentioning, public health nutrition.
Yeah, so looking at public health nutrition, so I'm the coordinator of the MSc in public health nutrition at the moment on our Sligo campus, and again similar to the sports nutrition masters, this is part-time, fully online, and it's over 2 years. So I'll not go through each of the module areas. You can see that we have here a range of really interesting areas that we cover, both in year 1 and year 2. Again, year 2 has that focus of predominantly looking and focusing on your research project. And again, this is unique to each student. We've had a variety of different focuses, from looking at female health, looking at nutritional quality, looking at hydration. So there's a huge range of topics that we've had. And students recently have had peer-reviewed publications from this as well. So they've presented at international conferences beyond their graduation. So we do keep in touch with students. And I suppose many of our graduates would maybe go down that route in terms of research. Some have gone on to work in public health agencies. So a really wide focus there and loads of opportunities. The exciting thing about this programme is that we've recently been accredited by the Association for Nutrition. So to my knowledge, I think we're the first postgraduate programme in Ireland to receive this accreditation. And what that means is that graduates of this programme are eligible for direct entry to register as associate registered nutritionists with the Association for Nutrition. So it's really just I suppose a standard or a competency to show that you're competent in nutrition, and this is the official kind of register of nutritionists that is widely recognised in the UK and Ireland and beyond. I suppose I'm happy to answer any questions that there are on the programme, and as I say, that like the other opportunities that we have, students like that it's flexible. The lectures are typically live in the evenings, but they're all recorded so students can access these at any stage. So it is really amenable to both kind of students with families and other commitments, but also we would have a lot of international students as well that would register for this programme.
Perfect. Thanks, Gemma. I just have one question around who is it, like typically, again, I know every year your student population probably changes, but you know, what are people generally coming in with? What kind of qualifications and backgrounds are they coming in with? I'm sure there's a variety, but even to give a couple of examples.
Yeah, we do have a variety of applicants from a range of backgrounds. We do have an entry criteria that they should have a background in biosciences. So we would have applicants from a range of science backgrounds. We would have maybe applicants who've completed an undergraduate programme in an area of nutrition or food. We'd also maybe have applicants, you know, we've had applicants in the past from areas such as home economics, if they have that biosciences component. So if they've done maybe nutrition modules, science modules, and that kind of thing. So really just if you have covered the science modules and or food and nutrition modules within your undergraduate studies. We do though have the recognised prior learning that you've mentioned as well. So we would maybe have people who've been working in this area. So maybe they've gone up as far as level 7, but they have maybe 5+ years experience of working in the area of kind of science or nutrition or something relevant. So we do have a lot of applicants with that range of experience as well.
Excellent. Look, thank you so much, Gemma. I think you've covered most of the questions that I would have had on it. And I think that recognition of prior learning piece is really important as well, that, you know, there are opportunities there if you don't meet the standard entry requirements to definitely engage with us as well, to look, because again, people might see the modules there, see they really are interested in progressing them, but just feel they can't meet the criteria. So there's definitely still opportunities for people, even if they don't match them. So look, I will move on, and thank you, Gemma. As you said, your contact details are there, and if there are any questions, people can put them into the Q&A box or find out more information on the website as well. I will move on. Thanks, Gemma.
Thanks, no problem.
So our final group of speakers is from the sport, exercise and nutrition field in the Galway campus. So Damien Costello is here as the head of department, and we'll have speakers Dr. Paula, Conroy and also Denise Martin as well. So Damien, I am happy to hand over to you.
Thanks very much, Cleo, and welcome along to everybody. So I have listed here, we have a range of undergraduate offerings that we'll cover elsewhere in the area of sports science, public health nutrition and sports coaching. But on our postgraduate offerings, we have 5 very interesting programs available, and all the programs have been designed with scientific rigor and practical application in mind, and they're all about bringing best practice to the students on the course and getting them through a practical and a very much hands-on application of the theory that they're learning and building on what they have before. In most of the programs, we're looking at probably a sports science or health science related background, and we kind of would have a requirement for some science-based subjects to have been covered in an undergrad. But that doesn't rule out, as Gemma has said, the RPL method as well. So like people have come in and they've been working in an area and they've said, well, I think I have the equivalent of a qualification here. And when they go through it, there's a nice process for this, and it allows them to evaluate what they've done. And we work with the program boards to figure out what the gaps are or if they meet the requirements. So we have our 5 programs. We have our strength and conditioning, which is looking at kind of the latest and greatest, if you like, in strength and conditioning methodologies, practices, and even technologies and equipment that goes along in those areas. Similarly for the other ones, so the sport and clinical biomechanics is a deep dive into biomechanics and human movement for people who want to work with athletes at very high level, and they're looking at movement analysis and the technologies and science that goes along with those. We have our very successful applied sports and exercise nutrition program, which is the only SCNR, so the sports and exercise nutrition register accredited master's program in Ireland. And this one runs with a very practical basis, and all the programs are run with online lectures which are recorded, but we also have in-house days where we bring people in for a set of labs on a day, and they get together, they work through the materials that are set in the labs, and it builds on what they've done in the theory. Normally we try and group these a little bit, so it's kind of, rather than saying somebody has to be in twice a week, which isn't much good to somebody who wants to try and do this with a family and stuff in the background, we try and group them. So maybe 4 or 5 days in a semester they'll have to be in Galway, and they sit in with the labs and they do their practical work in that case. And then our newest, we have 2 new programs. I can't say the newest because they're both the same age. But
Don't be picking your favourite new.
I'm not picking my favourite, but I'm going to go alphabetically here, and I'll just go to the Digital Innovation for Sports Master's Program here, because Paul is going to do an interview with Eric in a few minutes on the nutrition and food sensory science. So I'll give Denise, Dr. Denise Martin is the chair of the Digital Innovation for Sports Program, which is, it's up and running, and it's very successful, and it's a very interesting program in my opinion. Not any less interesting or more interesting than the other ones, so let's not be. But Denise, do you want to say a few words about the Digital Innovation for Sport?
I will, of course, and thank you. Of course, it's your favourite programme, Damien. Listen, no, just to say thanks for the opportunity to talk about the new Masters in Digital Innovation for Sport. It is quite different from the others in that family across, in that we are looking for graduates who may potentially have a business background. or potentially an engineering background. So this is a very much a cross-disciplinary master's. It will incorporate, business, science, obviously the sport, and but also the digital marketing, and it will incorporate engineering even to some extent. So people can come from all backgrounds to this. And the students that we've just had through one came from a business, actually BIS systems was his background, and whereas others would have come through the traditional sports science route. So that's quite important. In terms of what people will study on this, there's sort of three really key strands. So you have the data and digital strand, where people will understand AI, understand media, content generation, and all of that, but analytics and that field. The other strand then is the innovation and technology. How do we create new things? How do we use technology to do that? But the one that pulls them together then is the transforming sport landscape. So how we performance sport is using technology and innovation, how participation sport has changed completely. And for example, e-sport is all a new area there, but also the business of sport there. So very much it is it's across campus in terms of delivery, but it is a virtual program. So this will be mostly online. We do have a couple of opportunities to book in. So at the beginning, we will have an induction in person that people will have the opportunity to come to if they can. And then we also have a Digital Innovation for Sport conference in May every year that students will also get the opportunity to come together. And so some of our students last year worked with the exhibitors for that conference, and it really got them very close to industry. So being close to industry is really important. All of the project work that students will do is aligned to real either sports tech companies or agencies like local sports partnerships, or for example the GAA, or one of the governing bodies. And we're very excited that we're hoping to be able to come out in the coming weeks with a couple of actually funded studentships, because that has gone so well for us. So please keep an eye out for that. We will be going out, and if you have any questions, you'll get me on denise.martin@atu.ie. Thanks a million.
Very good. Thanks, Denise. I'll mention as well, just briefly, the micro-credentials and minor awards that are listed on the right-hand side of the slide there are all level 9 certs that are 2 modules each. They're 15 credits in total, and they're all connected with the Digital Innovation for Sport Masters. So if you want to talk about doing some of those with a view to maybe doing a Masters or just dipping your toe in the water, just contact either Denise or myself. And now I'll go to my other favorite program. So I'll call on Paula Conroy. Paula is the coordinator for the Master of Science in Nutrition and Food Sensory Science. So Paula, I'll hand over to you and our program.
Great, thanks very much, and thanks to Cleo for inviting us here today to talk. It's great to highlight all the different programs. So the program I'm going to be talking about is the MSc in Nutrition and Food Sensory Science. So to our knowledge, it's Ireland's only taught master's program which focuses specifically on nutrition and food sensory science. A lot of the speakers already have mentioned about blended programs. So this as well is a blended program. So this means that your lectures will be online, and so will your tutorials, and they will be recorded. So you can watch them back at any time that suits you and your schedule as well. There is a practical that we do usually one day a month, where students come in and they can use our labs, and we have our sensory practicals on site as well. And it's a good chance as well to meet your classmates. So this year we've also had some very exciting field trips where students, get exposure and experience, and they can connect as well with other sensory scientists, other nutritionists, and we have visited a few food facilities around Ireland as well. So it's nice as well just to know, what your work life will entail after completion of the Masters too. A lot of our staff have very, very different backgrounds actually. So we have a range of chefs, sports scientists, nutritionists, we have food sensory scientists, and we have food scientists as well. So this gives us a very unique opportunity to tailor the students', I suppose, interests, research, to what they would like to achieve after they graduate. And it puts us in a very unique position as well to make those collaborations and connections with other members from industry if that's what the students would like. The masters as well. I know on I think it's the next slide. There are a lot of different. The previous slide. All of the different modules are listed there, so I won't go into too much detail on them. But if you are considering the masters and you have a specific question on any of the modules, please do email me. What I would like to highlight is that there are 2 different research projects on this Masters. There's Research Project 1 and Research Project 2. So this is a very practical experience for students, and it allows them to really develop different skills that they would like to focus on and maybe tailor towards their future careers. Eric, our class rep and also our student who's going to talk to you all today, he's about to embark on a paid internship or a paid placement with Kerry Group in Naas. So we're very proud of Eric and what he's achieved so far, and I believe I'm going to ask you some questions, Eric, if you don't mind.
Yep. Please.
So the first question, Eric, so what motivated you to undertake the Masters in Nutrition and Food Sensory Science?
Well, actually, at first, I didn't want to do my master degree so early, but my family just want me to have one, so I just choose something I like to do. I found I'm interested in the packaging and some sensory parts during my bachelor degree. So I just choose to continue to focus on them. So I choose to do this master degree here.
Can you tell everyone what your bachelor's degree is, Eric?
It's gastronomy arts. It's similar. It's quite similar as the courses I have now. Is about packaging and new product developing and some sensory tests things.
Yeah, so we have a range of students. Some are dietitians, some are food scientists, some are from culinary arts, and some are nutrition students as well. So there's a range of different backgrounds within Eric's class already. Okay, so the second question, Eric. So what is your experience of the course so far?
It's quite nice. I think I know it's a new program and the teachers are not the new teachers, but the program is a new program, so we face many new problems. But I do enjoy solving the problems with them, and we have some recorded classes, which I think is really great because sometimes I may worry about this. I can't learn something well, but actually I can watch the videos again and again and try to learn them well. And another thing is that I think the teachers here are quite good. And I was a student here last year, so I knew some teachers, actually half of them. So I'm confident that to say that some teachers, I trust the teachers here, and that's why I choose this major.
Very good.
And
okay.
I feel so well here.
Great. Thanks, Eric. It's good to know you trust us. And the third question, how do you think your studies will impact your future career?
I will say I'm not quite sure yet because I think I'm still young and I have no working experience so far. But I think the study here, it does give me a direction in the future because at least I have one more choice in the future. If I feel lost, I may come back and continue to do the sensory things, or after the postgraduate, I will work in the sensory jobs directly.
And I suppose that's a good thing to point
It's
out as
more
well.
about a direction, a clear way in the future.
Yeah, there are a lot of roles currently for sensory scientists. There's so many at the moment being advertised as well, which is great to see. And the last question, Eric, do you have any advice for anyone thinking of studying the MSc in Nutrition and Food Sensory Science at ATU?
Yeah, I think it's very important to learn to control your emotion because many of the classes are online classes. You are hard to see your classmates or teachers if you live far away from the campus. So I think it's really important to control your emotion because sometimes you may feel depressed or something. You need to find a way to encourage yourself to continue to your work. So I think it's very important. And another thing is to have a plan. I don't mean a detailed plan for everything, but a target, I will say. You need to have a target for every day. Like I need to finish my one part or two parts of my assignment today or tomorrow. You need to have a target for your every day so that you can at least have something to do and don't feel so lost when you are alone, especially you are international student or something.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, so there's a lot of international students on this year's cohort with Eric. So it's nice that you all have each other as well. So that's all my questions for you, Eric. So thank you very much. I know you've dialed
Yeah,
in from China, so we really appreciate you coming on your summer holidays.
you
Yes,
too, you too.
thank you very much, Eric. Lovely to meet you. You said it was about 8 o'clock there in the evening, so enjoy the rest of your evening. And thanks, Gemma, for going through the program in detail there. You really did give people a good overview, and I know your details were shared as well. So I'll just move on now if everybody's okay with that. We've just a few concluding slides, and I know we're just about over the time now. So it is really just to point out a couple of general pieces of advice for anybody if their interest has been piqued in any of the programs that we've spoken about today. There's Springboard funding available. That call is now open, where you can get up to 80% to 90% funding on a program. There's an approved list of programs there. So Springboard, atu.ie/springboard if you want to see the list of programs there. They're very popular every year. We also have funded micro-credentials as well. You'll have heard Damien speak about some of the micro-credentials. They're like the smaller awards, maybe 10 credit, 15 credit awards that you can kind of dip your toe in. Some of those are funded, and again, a full list of the funded ones are there on that page. And then SUSI funding is new for some students in terms of part-time undergraduate study. So it's usually full-time undergraduate, but there's some programs that are funded as part-time undergraduate awards as well. And ATU offers about 12 programs that are SUSI part-time funded, and the list is there under susi.ie as well. Also to flag that we have an alumni scholarship program for Thought Masters programs. So it is exclusive to members of the ATU Alumni Network. It's very easy to become a member of the ATU Alumni Network. You just register with us, but you also will have had to have completed your level 8 with ourselves or with any of our legacy institutions. So you'll be familiar with, we were formed as a merger of IT Sligo, LYIT and GMIT and St Angela's College. And once you register on a 90 credit master's program and you are a level 8 graduate, you can avail of up to 20% fee reduction. So there's a closing date listed there, and there's a link as well to find out more about that. And our alumni officer will be in touch with you if you make an application. Then just in terms of any of these programs, the applications are now opened, as I said, for many of those programs that we talked about. Our application closing date is the 15th of August. Seems like a long time away, but we do really advise people to apply early, because you do have to have your application academically assessed, and then there are some times where you don't meet the standard entry requirements and you may want to go down the recognition of prior learning route. So our first advice is to go to the course web page, make sure you look at the entry requirements, look at the modules that are there. Each of the modules have a lot of detail on them as well. There's an online application form. You complete and submit it with all the relevant documentation. So you might have to submit transcripts of previous qualifications or a CV. And then, as I said, they're academically assessed and offers are made to eligible applicants. And then we do start teaching mid-September. So registration, you're prompted then to register as a student with us around mid-August to end of August time. So again, the sooner you do all that, there's a lot to think about around lining up your family commitments, your personal commitments that you might have. So if you start the journey now, it makes it easier to get ready for studying with us in September. As a good few mentioned, the recognition of prior learning, and it has obviously provided pathways for a number of people, a number of our graduates speaking there, and lecturers as well, where you maybe have taken a program previously that does not meet the standard entry requirements, but you have experience or you've undertaken maybe short courses with other providers that would identify that you've met the learning outcomes that are needed for gaining entry to that program. atu.ie/RPL will give you a bit more information about what that is and how you'll be assessed. It is a little bit more timely, but as again, I know that Gary mentioned earlier and Ronan would have mentioned, the team can help with preparing for what you need in order to be recognised in that way. Any programs we've mentioned, they are available in our part-time prospectus. Full details of them, if you scan the QR code there, or if you go to atu.ie/flexible, you'll find the information about the programs and a lot of other supporting information as well. We have one final event coming up this summer. We have an event on the 9th of July, which is a webinar again at 1 p.m. And that's talking about ATU's funded courses. So any of the courses that have funding available, supports from different employers or through SkillNets or through Springboard or government initiatives like that. We'll have some speakers on just to talk about those. We've also held a series of webinars and they are all available as watchback links now. So maybe we didn't cover a course that you're interested, or maybe you have a family member or a friend or a colleague that would be interested in studying in another area. All the watchback links are available in that QR code now as well if you want to scan it. And that's all we have time for today. Sorry, we have run a little bit over, but thank you so much to everybody who has contributed to our webinar today, to all our speakers. I really do hope they've given you a good understanding of the programs available in sport and nutritional sciences. And then hopefully you've been inspired by some of our students and our graduates about what they've achieved through learning with ATU. So we will stop the recording there and I will thank you all for attending, and we will share the watch back link with everybody shortly. Thank you.